Can you see my abacus in the background?
Mm.
Just there.
Ah, yeah.
The
They're all one
abacus is in
side.
play. It's in play. It's in play.
All right. Yeah.
Okay, we're live, Bernardo.
Good stuff.
It's Tuesday. All day actually. Tuesday all day. How are you getting on today?
Yeah. All good. All good. Good morning. The sun coming back. Bit shy yet, but yeah, good stuff. It's definitely brighter than the last days. How are you keeping?
Yeah. Yeah. No, good on the go since this morning. Obviously, we had the session at 6:30. So that was kind of the first big thing I did. Although I was up earlier than that. So yeah, I feel like I've been up for, I don't know, ages. I'm feeling
Yeah.
I'm feeling like I've had a really productive day, but it's all
Yeah.
good. I'm happy.
Good
I was looking
kickstart. Yeah.
forward to this. Yeah, I was looking forward to this chat because what we're talking about here is habits and behavior change. And I think for the guys who are listening in, if you're following us live, thanks a million for joining us. This is the Evolutis.ie Coach's Corner. Today it's with me, David. For those who don't know me, David Knowles, and Bernardo Morao, which obviously is the perfect pronunciation.
Oh yeah.
So John hasn't been able to come on with us for today's one, but he will be back with us next week. So we're going to talk about some habits and behavior change stuff. I think for people watching live, what you should know is we're going to talk a little bit about, I guess some of the struggles we have. I think that's important. Things that we obviously try to maintain in terms of good habits, and if we do struggle with that stuff, how do we overcome that? Because I mean, at the end of the day, we're humans like the next person. We're not super human robots, and we have to work as hard as the next person to do lots of positive things. Would you agree, Bernardo? Would you disagree? Are you more superhuman than I am?
Yeah, like I wouldn't like to say that live, but like no, but jokes apart, like it's literally that's there's no difference at all. It's kind of funny sometimes because when maybe a new member see you at the gym and say maybe us demoing an exercise, a chin up, let's say, and sometimes not rarely you could say like, but it is easy for you,
yeah,
but not for me. But like as you're talking about habits, like this lots have been done before that. So like I had to make that a habit, like doing exercise in that way. So someday it became easier.
yeah.
But again, we struggle with, we are just people with different jobs. Just this, we just have different job. We're coaches and
we
we
just don't
struggle with all these things.
We just don't eat the chocolate in front of people. That's basically what it is.
Yeah, exactly. Not in front of people. Yeah.
Let's start off then with, I guess, a general question, which is why are habits important? Why is it important to think about habits? What does it mean? Like, what would you say from your personal experience? Why is it an important topic of conversation?
I would say like because in the end, as a general statement, like one of my notes here I wrote for this conversation, and I think it summarized everything we're going to talk today. Like we are, in the end of the day, a product of our habits. So we were discussing yesterday on our talk, you, me, and John, in our daily meeting about one of the articles I read this last week about aging and training. So like ways to reverse training, and to summarize the article, the guy was saying like the problem is not aging, it's not getting older. The problem is not doing stuff as you age. So when you are 60 or 40 or 50, if you haven't done stuff before, like you feel like, oh, like you'll feel the need of doing, you feel the lack of it. So like doing something, we're just a product of the things we have been doing for the most of the time. So think about the things you have been doing for the last 10 years or 15 years. You're probably really good at this. Either it's a good or bad thing. You'll become good on the things we do repeatedly.
So it's kind of positive and negative, I guess, the habits that
it could be. I think so. Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think, and I just popped up the article you meant. It was Dr. John Rusin, so I might actually just share that via the comments for guys to read that if they like. I completely agree. We are basically a product of our habits, our routine, and our behaviors, a collective behavior. So For me, I think the most important reason for kind of considering habits is if you want to change anything, the first thing you should really look at it is your habits. You know, what is it you're doing on a daily basis? And sometimes I think people look at that in a negative way. They kind of look at it and go, "Oh my God, everything's terrible." But I think I'd prefer to kind of get across the message to people that it's not a bad thing to be aware of where you are. It's a good thing, because at least then you know where you are right now. At least you can do something about it. It's when you ignore these things completely. That's I would say a bad thing. So I think that's why habits are important. You know, if you analyze, if you reflect and look at what leads you to do the things you do every day, then you'll be closer to making positive change. For me, I think that's powerful. You know, I think if you own that, I think it can be quite a powerful thing, positive thing. You know, sometimes it's just a case of owning up and saying, right, okay, I didn't focus on this stuff enough before. I need to focus on it now. I'm sick of listening to my own bullshit. You know, it's time to make some changes. You know, so I don't know. That's probably how I think about it at the minute, and obviously my thinking evolves over time. But that's where I probably am right now. I don't know how you feel about that.
Yeah, I think, like, as you said, like, step number one is definitely awareness, because, like, again, of course, like, we are coaches, we work with health and you know, well-being and all this stuff. So these values are really important to us because we have reasons to believe they're important. We have lots of scientific background and our overall feeling and all this stuff. But some things could, like, that's why we have, for example, different training methods or different ways of thinking, because, like, people think differently, and that's okay. That's no problem at all. But to understand what you like or what you want yourself, the step number one is awareness, is to know where you are. Because if you don't know where you are, how are you gonna get anywhere?
Yeah.
So, like, if I want to be stronger, for example, like, I need to know what I'm doing now at the moment. How am I training? If I want to eat better, what I'm eating. How do you know you're eating bad now? You need to be aware. You just know you just eat better if you know what you're eating exactly. So awareness is definitely the number one step. So yeah, 100%.
Would you say, like, if awareness is the first step, equal and opposite important step is to know where you want to go? What's your destination?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think that's really important. And what I would say, it's probably gonna change in like slightly directions as you age, as your life goes, because like, life changes and we have different experiences and then things change. But yeah, once you know what's happening, and then I wouldn't say maybe which one comes first, but they're both maybe really, really close. Like, where I am now, where do I want to get? Like, where's the direction? What do I want to achieve?
Yeah.
And then after that, you decide how you're gonna get there.
Yeah. So it's kind of like the chicken and the egg. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
you know, if you're not aware of where you are, you know, you won't get to where you want to go. If you don't know where you want to go, if you're not aware of where you are, you can't get there. So it's kind of, the two things are kind of linked. One of my current favorite expressions is, if you don't have a goal, how can you score? You know, so if you don't have a goal, how can you score? So I think that's probably where that falls in. Let's talk about some stuff that the guys listening in might find interesting. Our struggles. What the hell are we struggling with? What is it that we're trying to make sure that we, you know, do each day? Like, what are some of your objectives? Give me an idea. What are your big objectives? Health, fitness, anything at all? Like, what are you aiming for?
So, like, for the last few days, inevitable to talk about this, but, like, the quarantine, the new normal we're living with.
Yeah.
So, for example, something I was struggling, and I'm much better now, in a much better place now. As you can see, I'm wearing my uniform. So, like, when am I working? When I'm not working? You know, like, this could be really strange, because, like, in normal days, the last normal days, you get out of a house, you would get a bus, you would get a car, you would get to another place, and then, like, it's a completely different place. So it's a whole different mindset. But now, like, the max you go is your living room there. Sometimes your living room, your bathroom, your bedroom. So it's sometimes it's tough to say, okay, like what I'm doing, what I was supposed to be doing. So for example, this is something I had been struggling routine, but I think in a much better place now, trying to put like, okay, this is my schedule for the day, or these are the 3 or 4 most important things I need to achieve for today. And if I do these 4 things, I'm grand. The things that you sure they're gonna move the needle, not just like general things. Oh, tidy up my bed, wash the dishes. Not this stuff like, okay, I need to record 10 videos today, and I need to deliver 2 sessions. I need to design 2 sessions for the next month. So big stuff. So that's what I think I'm in a better position now. But again, it takes work, a daily practice. What about you? What are struggles at the moment?
Yeah, no, I think I'll be honest with you. I think designating workspaces I probably got a handle on quite early myself, and that was probably one of the good things I did. The thing I struggled with was definitely around the routine of it, because it's like you say, you're in the same place. So I went and put together a routine to begin with, and I really struggled with that. It wasn't working for me. And then also I was struggling with the kind of, when do I train? When do I not train? When do I, what am I going to eat? I really, there was so much going on. It was like, what do I focus on? So I struggled with, getting a good night's sleep, what my routine was each day, eating well, and just exercise in general. Like I struggled with all of that stuff. And I also struggle. I'll be really honest as well, as a parent. I really, really, really still struggle, and struggle more because I'm more aware of it, because I'm more around. My kids say, like, and I haven't been able to see 3 of my kids for 2 months, because of the quarantine stuff. But I'm very much kind of talking and connected to them, and it just seems like I'm even more aware of that stuff. I'm struggling with the idea that I need to spend time with them. I need to be present. I need to be around them. So like with all these things, it's like trying to juggle these balls. And every day it's like, oh my God, what do I focus on? What do I need? What way can I improve this stuff? So as a person, you're running a gym, you're delivering stuff for the gym. You're trying to take care of your own personal health, physical, mental health. And then you're also trying to take care of family and kids and all those kind of like really important things to you. And it's like, how do you manage all that stuff? And I know, speaking to the guys and members of the gym, I know that we're all having these same struggles, and that's the thing. It's like, when you look at all those things together, it can be quite overwhelming. It can be quite overwhelming.
It does, yeah. Sometimes, like, that's the thing. Like, you're being tackled, like, everywhere you look, there's something there. Say, oh, this stuff or that stuff, and then it can be overwhelming. But that's, I think it comes back to the step we are mentioning about awareness. So, like, okay, what's happening? Because, like, if you're just trying to put on a fire, like, if you're just trying to sort the problem which is in front of you, there's always be something there. I believe in order to be more organized and to be aware, you need to put some stuff away for the moment. All right, I'm taking care of these 3 things here now. All the rest has to wait. And then, like, but first you need to be aware. What's my problem? What's the biggest issue? I heard a quote, a guy saying say once, like, you're in a room, like, the curtains are on fire. There's lots of smoke. There are lots of problems there. What do you solve first? And you didn't have an answer. And they said, like, none of these, because, like, the building is on fire. So you need to get out of the building or do
get
something
out of the building,
different. It's pointless. Just, okay, I'm going to sort this out, the small things. Like, there's a bigger problem. Once you're aware of that main problem, the stem of the problem, then you can attack it, and then you can sort it. You can tackle in a more efficient way. But first, of course, you need to be aware. It takes time. It's not easy sometimes, like, to find the root of the problem or the root of that struggle. But it's worth finding it, because, like, otherwise you're just trying to dry ice. So it doesn't help much.
We are built that way, though. We're built to seek out the kind of that instant reward, aren't we? So to use your building on fire analogy, it's very satisfying to put the curtains out if the curtains are on fire, if we put them out because they're in front of
Yeah.
us, we feel like we've made progress, but actually the building's still on fire. You know, so but as human animals, the kind of chemical responses that happen in the brain, we seek out those quick rewards. It's why we'll eat half a bar of chocolate without thinking. You know, so we are built that way. You know, so it's kind of,
Yeah.
I mean, you would eat a half bar of chocolate, not me, obviously. You know, I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about some specifics. All right, some stuff. So let's just talk about the specific things that we've been trying to deal with. I mentioned a few things there. You meant what is it like? Let's talk about some of the habit stuff. So what is it you would say? Have you been able to focus on any areas to try and kind of improve some habits that have led you to improve your overall day-to-day routine and kind of what you're doing each day?
So let's say one of the ones I started here would give an example. Like I'll give two examples, one mine and one with the lads here at home. I've been trying to help as well, like as trying to step up as a leader and coach, so like help more people, which I think is directly related to our purpose as coaches and fitness professionals. Like mine, for example, was trying to. I'm in the schedule, and as you said, it could be very overwhelming. So I started setting like, okay, I have these 3 things I have to do today, or like this settle time from, I don't know, 12 to 2 p.m. I'm doing this. Just like setting some chunks of time, maybe not 2 hours, just 1 hour, but starting small.
Yeah,
that's what I would do. So like setting my routine, that's one of the things I struggled with. And as I started small, I could build it up as the time went on. Because like starting really big, all right, my routine at the moment is shite. It has to be 100% better tomorrow. It won't be. Don't try it. Even if it does, like it's not sustainable. So like go small, one thing at a time, and then that's what has been working for me, because I'm not sorted all right yet. I'm still building it up. And the other example I would say with the guys here, like as a coach, as a fitness professional, I want people around me to be healthy as well, to be happier and to be exercising. So with the lads here in my house, I was the only one exercising a few months ago. I said, Jesus, like I'm a coach. These guys, like, I need to help these guys in a way, like to be more healthy, to be healthier and all this stuff. Okay, so I said, guys, here's a training program for you. Like, won't charge you anything. This for you, just like a present for you. Just take it. And it was a really simple program, like maybe a 15-minute program, a 10-minute program, a 20-minute, no more than that. Absolutely no more than that.
Yeah.
So before they said like, oh, it's too much, I can't train because I have commitment. 10 minutes. You do have 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So they started building up, and so like today, I would say from the 3 guys who live here, 2 exercise like regularly. And one of them run 3 kilometers for the first time in his whole life last Sunday, which for me was a big win. And like the guys, but they're doing like one step at a time. I think this is really important if you want to build a habit.
Yeah, very much so. What you spoke about there actually on the time thing, I think there's the Parkinson's principle. You know, work will expand to fill time. So if we don't put boundaries and restrictions on our time, we'll just keep working. And I'm telling you this from experience, because I'm the feckin' worst for just not stopping. You know what I mean? If I don't put boundaries on my time, like you did, I'll just keep working. You know, so this idea that we don't have time, we do have time. We just don't manage our time well enough. You know, so that's a really important thing. That's a habit. That's a behavior. I've had people telling me recently the same thing as those guys that you're talking about, members. I don't have time. You know. And I mean, I can give you some really kind of funny examples. I mean, there was one person who told me, look, they're just constantly sending me work. I have to keep working. I said, well, hold on. How did you go to the gym before you're at home? You know, oh, well, I guess you have a point. I said, of course I
Mm.
have a point. You went to the gym. You actually have more time now because you don't have to travel to the gym. You can just log on and train and then carry on working. So you could, it's 45 minutes. It's not a lot of time. And then there was another example, probably the funniest example. And I did ask permission to share this kind of mini story, but where somebody said, oh, you know, time and energy and motivation to do, you know, the things that I need to do to be fit and healthy and to eat well and to try and lose some weight. While at the same time they're building this wonderful, amazing, like really impressive beer garden in you know, in their house, and I mean it's unbelievable what they did, and it's fantastic. But at the same time, the argument was being made: I don't have time, I don't have energy, I don't. Well, you do have time and energy because you're diverting that time and energy into something that's important to you, you know. So I think it's interesting how we see things, but I personally would agree with you on the time structure of things. If you don't limit your time in some way, shape, or form, that kind of idea, Parkinson's law, where work will expand to fill the time, you know. And then the other thing to consider, if let's say you don't put limit on your time and you work for 3 hours, you know, the kind of Pareto principle then is 20% of output. Yeah, or sorry, we only get output from 20% of the work we do. So like 100% of our results comes from 20% of the work. So like if we spend 3 hours working on something, like 10 minutes of that of each hour is actually productive. so you know,
sorry to say that.
Yeah, so the more time you spend, the less productive you are. So I think if we can sort of work to change our habits, and I think what you did there with your time structure thing is really good because it limits your time, it makes you more efficient and productive. And I've gone through that same process. Did you arrive at that in one go, or did you have to go through different versions of that before you got to a stage where you felt more comfortable with your time structure?
Different versions, thousands and thousands and thousands of versions. Like I tend to plan a lot, but like that's something I struggle with, and I've been struggling with this in years and years and years in my life. Like trying to be, not trying to be aware, but like trying to identify what's best for me, what works best for me. Like this is a real struggle I have with lots of different stuff. So for example, like my routine, for example, I think it's the biggest one because it involves it's everything is there in routine. So that's why I say routine times after times, but like trying to find the way that works for me, because sometimes you get someone and okay, oh, that's Dave's model and it works for him, so it should work for me. It's not like this. Like it's really unfair. It's really unfair to think like this. Like your life is your life, my life is my life. We have different struggles. So if I take your routine, it's probably won't work for me because I don't have 5 kids. So you know, for example. So that's something I really struggle with. I have been struggling. That's why I keep trying. I am trying like thousands of models. I find some of them. So this is something that's really working for me. 3 things a day. 3 most important things. Pick them, tackle them. That's it. Like this has been really working for me because I can go through a bit more flexibility during the day, and I can tackle them at different times. I can think about them on the night before. So this has been working, but it's a work in progress, a constant work in progress. And like it works for me now because I have this. I'm at home every day. I can't leave my house because of the quarantine, of course. But like as soon as I start coming back to the street and I start coming back doing the stuff I used to be, how I'm gonna adapt this to the new reality. So for me, this is really always a work in progress.
Yeah. Just what you said there, like obviously we're all different, and so what we choose to do is going to differ. But I think is it fair to say that like principles and rules can apply to everybody? So like, you know, for example, one thing that I do now every morning is I follow the same morning routine. But what I would encourage people to do is to have a morning routine. What you do in the morning is gonna be relevant to you. So for me, it's alarm at 5:45 or 6. It's shower, cold shower, get dressed straight away, brush teeth, drink a pint of water, and make a coffee so that I can drink my coffee while I map out my tasks for the day. Now, I wouldn't expect anybody else to do exactly the same thing as me, but I would strongly encourage people to have a time to get up in the morning, to have a set number of things that you do, because if you do that kind of thing each day, it sets you up to win that day. You know, whatever you choose to do, something, you know, whatever your routine is. So that as a habit and a behavior, I'm finding that's very, very useful for me, because I am very much a morning person. I actually get more done, you know, in terms of the kind of the really thinking stuff and the, you know, the stuff where I have to kind of be more creative, and like I much prefer to do that stuff early. And so that really works for me. But for someone else, maybe that morning routine starts at 9. You know, maybe your ritual is different to mine. So do you have anything like that in place? So like, what would you kind of follow the same kind of routine when you get up in the morning, or how's that working?
I have a kind of routine. Yeah, it's different from yours, but I do have a routine. I usually go to the bed later. So I rarely go to the bed before midnight or 11:30, something like this. So I tend to get up to get like a good night of sleep. I try to do at least 7 hours, 7.5 hours, no less than that. Sometimes I can't because like routine kicks in, but I try to do at least 7 hours. So I end up waking up at 8 or half 8. So I usually, like, it's funny because I get up. When I get up, I tidy up my bed straight away, get off the bed, tidy up the bed. And then I boil the water, start doing my breakfast. While I do my breakfast, while everything is getting prepped, like the eggs are boiling, I read something, I find something to read, and then like an article, something like this, and then I have my breakfast reading through something interesting, like some fitness related article or anything important that I found that day, finance, I don't know. So just take a route, and then I start the day, like, or then probably after I go training, or I do something else which is important for that day.
Yeah, I like the idea of reading something early, because it's like it's something proactive, productive early, and it's like you've learned something new. You know, so every day you get up, and 5 minutes every day.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Yeah, so you pretty much know every day you're going to learn something new every day, and it costs you 5 minutes while you do something else, which I think is really, really, really good. You know, would you have had any ways, like, let's just say you were trying to make some changes, would you have had any ways to track, you know, whether you're being successful or not? How do you keep an eye on things? How do you track your, you know, behavior change?
So that's something I have been trying to find the best way, the way that works best for me as well. I didn't find I have one of the apps, for example, I use. It's called To Do. It's basically a list. You write things down. When you finish, you click them, check, done. It goes out of our sight.
Yeah.
But like for many things, I couldn't find efficient way to tracking stuff. You mentioned you use a few new ones.
Yeah, there's a few little funny.
Are you getting on with them?
Yeah, I don't know. Can you see my abacus in the background there? It's just beside my monkey.
They call it. Yeah. I see it there.
My monkey, he keeps an eye on my guitar when I'm not playing the guitar. That's why he's there, just to let you know. Yeah.
Okay. The guardian.
Yeah, the guardian of the guitar. The abacus. Okay, so the abacus. So this is a technique. Like when it comes to behavior change, and this would be kind of the James Clear Atomic Habits book, which I'd recommend anybody reads. It's fantastic. It's really, really good. But he talks about 4 areas for behavior change. Okay, and there's 4 things that you should try to do, or to you know, if you want to make a change in some way, shape, or form. There's 4 kind of rules or laws around behavior change, and his 4 rules or laws are to make it obvious, to make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. So obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. 4 rules. So for me, like my abacus in the background there, it sits there on that little table now, and each day I'm trying to eat better. I'm trying to eat better meals, right? Good quality meals. And good quality meal for me, it's not calorie controlled. I'm not tracking calories. What I am doing is I'm trying to just follow a portion control method. So, you know, good source of protein, lots of green veg, and a small portion of carbs. And I aim to have no more than a thumb-sized portion of fat, so olive oil or butter, right? That's my meals. That's what I aim for. If I have one of the meals, I'll come into my abacus and I'll move one of the little things across. And so I aim to move 3 of those dots across every day. And if I do, and I don't know if you can see it, I put a peg on the little kind of runner, and it just locks off the 3. And I can see it. I walk into the room, I go, yes, I got my 3 meals yesterday. And I want to do it again because I see it, right? So we talked about before, you know, the laws of behavior change. What that is, it's very obvious. Yeah, it's very satisfying. So like you do your little ticks in your to-do list. So when you do a tick, it's like, yeah, you know,
same idea.
So it's attractive. It's easy, right? It's fucking easy to do that. It's not hard, and it's very satisfying. So I'm really looking forward to the end of the week when I have my little my blocks of 3 dots moved across on an abacus, and it's so stupidly simple. Another thing is, and this is kind of a system that I use. So I have like 6 jars, okay? And you might laugh at me here, but what I did, so remember I spoke about my morning ritual. Early alarm, straight to the shower, brush teeth, pint of water, make coffee, plan out the day. Okay, so I know this off by heart now. And I said to myself, whatever you do, follow that routine every day. And when you do, you move one of the lollipop sticks from this jar to this jar. So I started with an empty jar, okay, with like so, and I had a full jar. And so every day that I come and I follow my ritual, I come down and I move a lollipop stick from one jar to the other. And so I've now got this little game going off in my head every day. So I can't wait to move the lollipop stick. So it's like the first thing I think about when the alarm goes off is, yeah, let's go and move that lollipop stick.
Yes.
You know, yes, another one. But I guess what I'm trying. I guess the point I want to make to anybody listening is, like I would struggle as much as anybody with routine, with eating well, training, like making sure I get my training in, and so I will try anything. I'll try anything. I'll try anything to try and bring about change, and I don't care how silly it is. If it works for me, it works for me. I'm not saying people should go out and buy lollipop sticks. Definitely don't go out and buy boxes of ice creams and eat the ice creams to get your lollipop sticks. They have disclaimer. They have boxes of lollipop sticks in Mr. Price for like €6, and there's like 1,000 of them in the box, so you can buy them there. But I do think when it comes to these things, I would recommend you treat it like an experiment, treat it like a game. You know, have fun with it, but always with the goal in mind of trying to improve in some way. And I think that's for me what's important. It's like, you know, my personality lends itself quite well to that kind of thing. But you mentioned the app. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Like training, I think, how would you track your training sessions? How do you track whether you're on track with your training? What do you do there?
To be honest, with my training, I like the only way I track them is in my mind. Like I know, like for example, my goal at the moment is to get 3 hard sessions within the week. 3 hard sessions, so 3 heavy sessions. The ones that we do in the group, it's so really high effort all the time, like for the big part of the session, and some are done later on the session. So at least 3 of these in the week. So usually I do them by Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And so I wouldn't find I need to track them. So, but like I always have some kind of motivation. Maybe one of the guys here, they work out with me. So like Monday morning, come on lads, come on, man, let's do it. Like, so someone can put the other person accountable as well. Say, yeah, okay, like, yeah, have to do it. So you do it.
Yeah.
But I don't track them. Like the only way I track them is in my mind at the moment.
But you are tracking.
You have a way to track yours.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, you are a track. I mean, you have an objective. You know, a target. It's 3 sessions a week, right? Minimum. You want, So you are tracking. I mean, that's what's working for you. It's working. You're training every week, 3 times a week, presumably.
Oh yeah.
So
100%. Yeah. So I don't track them formally in any external way, just internal.
Yes, exactly. So, and that's another example of find what works for you. You know, if it's not working for you, well, then like it's that awareness thing. Like if you're not training, if you're not exercising, well, then maybe you need to try something different. But for you, you're in a good space. I'd also argue that because I'm like the methods I'm using for my morning ritual, I don't intend to keep doing that. That's just to establish that new habit. It's just to really set that habit in stone. So like I will replace that one with something else. You know, I will get rid of the lollipop jar, and I'll replace it with, you know, the professional development jar. I don't know, a particular course or something I'm doing, you know, and because I have one for training, I have another one for training, so I have 2 jars for training. So, and it's really just, it's just looking for ways for me to. So, but once I get into the habit and the routine of things, and it's working for me, then I'll move on and do something else, you know, and review it that way. So, I guess let's try and finish up with a bit of a summary then for guys who've been watching in. And again, anybody who's watching live, thanks a million. Really appreciate it. You can like and share the video out with friends and family. Hopefully you found it interesting. We're almost finished now. Questions, you can stick questions in the comments if you have any. We can I can jump on there and just see if we can get back to you there. Don't be afraid to ask. And if you don't ask questions live, you can ask them if you're watching back the recording as well. If you're watching that, please get your questions in, and we will see them, and we can respond there as well. But let's try and summarize. So we've kind of covered why habits are important. You know, what we struggle with. Yeah, personally, as real human beings with real flesh, you know, and bones, not robots. And some, I guess, some tips hopefully for overcoming stuff. Like what would you offer as a summary to people who maybe are also struggling? What advice would you give?
So for people who are struggling, I would say, like, start small. Like, be aware of the things you want, and don't be afraid to desire these things. So for example, if you want to put on some muscle, if you want to lose weight, if you want to lose body fat, like, don't be afraid. Be ambitious about your goals, but like, start small. Don't try to achieve them in you know, in one day, in 1 week. Sometimes it takes time. So that's what I would come to the point of, like, and I really touch really quickly on this one: outcome goals and process goals. So have your outcome goal, the big one. What do I want to do? I want to be able to do 10 chin-ups. All right. So in order to do 10 chin-ups, what do you need to do? Because you won't get 10 chin-ups in a day. All right. So I'll need to get 3 sessions a week. I need to do more pulling exercise. I need to eat better. Otherwise you'll be heavier, and then it gets harder to do a chin-up. So, you know, break that big goal into small ones, into process goals. Your outcome goal there at the top, and the process goals, which are the stairs, which are ladders that gonna lead you up to the goal. So I would say start small. If you're not exercising at all at the moment, start with a 5-minute exercise, you know, 10, and then when you're comfortable with a 5, go to a 6-minute or a 10-minute. Every little step, they count. It's up to you. Like, how much can you handle? How much can you do at the moment? You know, don't be afraid to take a small step, or to break your goal into small ones, because really progress is progress. So keep moving, and that's the consistency is the number one step.
Yeah, I think just to elaborate on what you said there, I'd agree with you. Coming back to the kind of the laws of behavior change, making it obvious and attractive, make it easy and satisfying. So what you said there about breaking up into small things, whatever you choose to do, like, make it really obvious, you know, make it really attractive, something that you want to do. Why do you want to do this thing? What is your bloody reason for doing it? Make it easy, you know, and make it satisfying. There has to be some reward for what you're doing. There has to be, whether it's short, medium, or long term. I think there has to be some reward. There has to be some reason for doing the thing that you're doing. You also said, you used the kind of expression there that your process goals are like the ladder that lead you up the side of the building to your big outcome goal. So if the house is your outcome, and the process goals are your ladder, I would also add, make sure your ladder is leaning against the right house. because sometimes we get caught up in following the process, and we don't stop and think, well, what the hell am I doing this for? You know, what am I doing this for? Where am I going? Like, you know, so I think that's probably important, and that's maybe falls back into the awareness thing. I would also probably add, you know, enjoy the process, enjoy the experiment, enjoy, you know, learning as you go. Don't ever see something as failure. Look at it as, okay, I've learned something. Let's try something new. Treat it like a game. Enjoy it. If you're not enjoying what you're doing, what the hell are you doing it for? What's the point? And ultimately, I think if you do enjoy the process more, at least you can say, well, I've enjoyed my effort to get there. I might not be there quite just yet, but there's no point in beating yourself up or criticizing yourself because you've tried. There's a little expression. There's a little video. It's kind of like one of these motivational videos I would have seen before. And it's called the hip hop motivator. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. But one of the things he says in one of his speeches, he says, if you're struggling with something and you've struggled for a while to actually get somewhere, why would you quit now? You've already gone through that. So why quit and have nothing to show for it? Why not keep going and get something for it? So it's like if you can keep that mindset where you kind of look, I'm just going to keep moving forwards. I'm going to keep moving forwards. I'm going to enjoy it as much as I can, and I'm not going to stop until I actually get there. And whatever it takes, little by little, you will get there. And that's probably how I would finish in terms of advice for the guys listening. Would you add anything there, or what do you think of that? That was a bit of a long meandering waffle there. Sorry.
No, yeah, I think you summarized it well. Like these four principles they summarize pretty much everything. But yeah, just be aware of what works for you, and don't be afraid to break your goals and go small steps. Yeah. Keep doing. Like I would say, I'm really this is the wallpaper of my mobile phone. It's rated like consistency in Portuguese, because like stay consistent, like do once, of course, like be aware where you are, but be consistent. Sometimes you won't perform your better every day in wherever area we're talking about, but if you perform every day, or if you perform constantly, you will improve. Like it's not me, that's what happens. You will improve whatever you're doing. If you're complaining, you get really good at complaining. If you get like anything else, training or eating well or eating badly, like you'll get really good on the things you do repeatedly. So choose wisely.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's probably a good way to finish. If I start talking again, I'll just keep waffling, so I'll shut up now. Come here, listen, I'll just say thanks again to anybody who's watched in live. Anybody who's watching back recorded as well, thanks a lot for joining us. Hopefully you found it interesting and some useful insights. You now know that we are human with real flesh and blood. We're not robots, and we do like chocolate, and I often do question whether I want to get off the couch and exercise as much as the next person. But ultimately, I think, let's just keep moving forwards, keep thinking positively, enjoy the process, and best of luck with everything. If you need any help with anything, don't be afraid to ask. Stick messages in the comments, get in touch with us directly. We'd love to help. Honestly, we look at things like an experiment ourselves. So if there's a problem to be solved, we could definitely have a look at it. And that's all. Thanks a lot for listening. If you enjoyed it, let us know, and we will talk to you next week, next Tuesday again, isn't it, Bernardo?
Yeah.
That's How do you say
have our member spotlight on Thursday as well.
Oh, Thursday, yeah. There's an interesting one coming up for that one.
Thursday, yeah.
Which I won't divulge now. How do you say goodbye in Spanish again? Sorry.
I'll tell you how to say goodbye in Spanish.
Keep it clean. All right. Listen, thanks a million. Jesus. We'll say goodbye. We'll talk to you again soon.
Yeah.
Adios.
Bye, everyone. Adios.